So let's welcome those three women.
Hi. How's it going? Thanks, Susie, that was awesome. Alright, so first of all, I want to say thank you to Paul and Susie and Lauren and Darlene for your vision and for allowing us to be a part of it. Our journey with you has been epic, to say the least. So these girls behind me, and three more who are not here, and then Anne and Lane, of course, are in the audience. They're my best friends, but they're also my sisters. Emily is the artistic one. Lindsay is the passionate one. Sarah is the laughing one. Megan is the caring one. Natalia is the real one. Jaylene is the joyful one. Savannah is the courageous one. Naomi is the poetic one. Anne is the empathetic one. And Lane is the mothering one. Today we are unified and we love each other deeply, but I can assure you it hasn't always been this way. This thing that we've just completed is more than just a school. Yes, we spent the past 2 years of our lives studying and traveling the world as a photogenics track, and we now have an associate's degree. But we also did life together. We experienced the beauty and the discomfort of community. We were stretched beyond our capacities over and over again. There was the good times, there was the bad times, there was yelling, there was crying, there was laughter. We've eaten thousands of meals together, we've spent hundreds of nights dreaming together, and we've crossed tens of thousands of miles on planes, trains, and automobiles. We learned to knit, we joked about things only we found funny, and we tried to get in shape, but we failed. We had tea with gypsies in the Himalayas, and we shared ice cream cones with refugees in Athens. We dined amongst the wealthy, and we dined with the rejects. We saw the violence and the grace of other religions, and we found truth in unexpected places. We were humbled by the generosity of the poor and the honesty of the dying. We learned that His grace is sufficient. When I and these 10 girls started the photogenics track back in 2009, we came from totally different backgrounds, and we each carried our own agendas. Agendas to grow and encounter the Lord. What we did not anticipate, however, was the degree to which God would totally change our lives. In Ephesians 4, it says, "I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace." We got this as a word early in our journey when our differences were still obvious. We set out to lay aside our pride and write love on our hearts. In South Africa, we studied photography. In the Middle East, we studied the Bible in a biblical core course. Shout out to Andrew and Leah for all your teaching. We love you guys a lot. Finally, in Europe and Asia, we studied humanities and science. But there was so much more in that. In South Africa, we dreamed together and we committed to each other. In Egypt, our patience was tested and gracefulness often escaped us. In Israel and Palestine, we became responsible for our actions. It became less of us and more of God. In Turkey, we witnessed sin and beauty. We left humbled by our brokenness. In Greece, we recommitted to each other and our callings. It became less of us and more of them. In Italy, we saw through the wealth and we saw the needs of the West. In Germany, our souls found peace and we turned from friends to sisters. In Czech Republic and Romania, Jesus' heart for humanity came alive in us. In Hungary, we reflected on our place in the world. In India, all we had been through came together. We clung to the Spirit's guidance and stuck together. We saw the value of community, and as the prejudices of other religions were broken down, love had no bounds. After that, we parted ways for 3 months. We went to such places as Thailand, Indonesia, Japan, India, Argentina, New Zealand, and the US. Where inevitably more challenge and growth awaited us. We came back to Kona in September of last year, where we thought the emotion of our journey would come to an end. We quickly realized that we were wrong, as we were all placed into the same dorm room together and we were told to process. We thought, this is a joke, right? It wasn't. We were launched into our communications core course and we were asked to relive the journey of track. We knew this time would come, but we did not know how extremely challenging it would be. We were to make a book reflecting what we discovered about the Father's heart for the world. During that time, Jesus gave us John 15, which says, "This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love." These words were hard to grasp as we started vocalizing our feelings about track. We found ourselves brokenhearted as we looked back on photos of countless faces that we had left behind and read journal entries that bore our emotions. It was intense, it was uncomfortable, and it was really hard to love one another with such unease weighing on us. We wanted to wallow in self-pity and curl up in the comfort of the hot cone of sun and just forget the past 15 months. We did not know how to look like disciples, we did not know how to do justice to the stories, and we certainly did not know how to bear fruit. Thankfully, God is faithful. He showed us how He had irreparably transformed us. He had used us as we traveled and we met people. By His strength, we impacted lives, but more importantly, lives impacted us. We gained Jesus' heart, and love was redefined. We saw that God was in a myriad of encounters and circumstances since the very beginning. He was there when we met the starving, the wealthy, the homeless, and the hopefuls all over the world. He was in the joyful seasons when we were surrounded by beauty and we were at peace with one another. He was in the dark seasons where guilt, frustration, hopelessness, and disunity were towering over our paths. His Holy Spirit gracefully gave us soothing words for one another. When we discovered racism, hatred, and bitterness in the world and in ourselves, Jesus responded with truth and grace. As we recounted our experiences, we had revelation that our photos and our stories were dripping with testimony of the Father's heart. To do justice to ourselves and the people we met, we needed to speak up about Jesus' passion for humanity and how we play into it. We made a book, as Susie mentioned. It's called Act Here, Love Now. It is raw, it is bold, it is us. It tells of our personal journey, learning to live like Jesus, and it calls people to action. We are seeking to share a message with anyone who wants to see the world be better. Today, our agendas have become the Father's, to see the world transformed by the love of Jesus Christ. Because we see that this love is what brought us together. It is why we live differently, and we will never be the same. It is how we discovered the Father's heart, and it is the way that we were made disciples and we've been set free to make disciples. Thank you.